All right, next up, The Curse of the Puppet Master. The opening credits of this look like a TV series. Was this intended to be a TV series? It kind of feels like one. Then we get this over-the-top bully that I just immediately want to fucking crush. I hate this guy so much, but that's the point of it. But he's just overselling it. Of course, we've got to hate the guy. And then this guy says that he bought the puppets in an auction. No, the fuck you did not. They were still in the Bodega Bay Inn. But of course they weren't, because the continuity doesn't say that in the other movies. Who knows, man? But somehow this guy acquired the puppets for a certain amount of time in the era in which this is set in, which I don't know if it ever even says what it is. But a guy at a gas station's making $30 a week. So it's got to be the 60s or something. I don't fucking know, man. But this guy ain't making shit. And then he hires him to like whittle wood for him, and he's like, hey, I can pay you $35 a week. And then he brings him into this place, and he is like, hey, you have to take all this specialty wood and you have to create it and craft it exactly as these very crude blueprints suggest. I don't know how those would show him depth and joints and everything. So it's all flat paper, but somehow it shows him that everything has to be like perfectly circular to that. I don't understand how he could possibly read those blueprints and get, because he's like, you can't make a single flaw, not a single mistake, nothing can be off. And it's like, well then what? That's what he gives him is just like, they're straight cutouts. So now if it was flat and he was just, you know, tracing along and it was flat pieces and they assembled together, I would understand that. But these are three-dimensional, they're rounded, so how could he possibly read what that's all? I don't understand. Whatever, doesn't matter. But I feel like he should be getting paid more than $5 extra a week to quit his job and to come do this insanely meticulous, skilled work. But he's slow, right? Even though this guy is not a good enough an actor to sell that he's slow. He feels totally normal in the movie to me. But he does feel like he's acting. He's trying to act. A lot of boom mics are showing up in this movie, so, you know, a lot of technical flubs all over the place. I saw a few boom mics throughout the movie, and it was just like, Jesus Christ. And there's actually puppets in a puppet show in this one, so there's a first. The cops in this movie are total dicks. Nothing new there. And there's a couple questions in this movie I actually thought were fairly well written. When he asks, like, how could the puppets possibly be alive? And the girl's like, well, how are humans or animals or plants or anything alive? And she says, we don't really question miracles when they are commonplace. I'm paraphrasing, but not by much. I thought that was a really good question. Because it is. That's something I always think about. Like, how the fuck are we alive? Like, I get it from a scientific level. Our hearts beat and pumps blood and all that. Like, I get how it works, but I don't get why it works. Like, I don't understand how, you know, a single cell organism, like, just created, like, out of nowhere. Like, that's just crazy to me. Like, it's just a wild thing. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's God. Okay. And that's your explanation. That's fine. Whatever it is, it's just wild to me. It's just wild to me. Like, yeah, you can tell me how a plant exists, but I don't understand how it exists. And so when she asked that question, it was like, yeah, when you're around it all the time, when there's human beings and animals and bugs and bacteria and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of different living beings on this planet, we just kind of take it for granted because we're so used to it. You know, there's plankton in the ocean, and there's fucking all these microscopic little beings, and there's all these enormous beings, and it's wild. And then they're like, how are these puppets alive? And it's like, you don't question it when there's all trillions of things alive, right? But to our knowledge, yeah, I mean, these things can't be alive. But, you know, it's just, our existence is just as wild in a lot of ways. So, just some food for thought. Anyway, and I like how he is so unaware. This is like probably the slowest moment he has in the movie. But the girl who ends up falling in love with him is like, you have big hands. And he's like, yeah, that matches the rest of me. And he says it so casually and nonchalantly that he doesn't realize that he's like humble bragging. Like he's like a legit humble bragger. He's like, yeah, you know, like the rest of me, you know, no big deal. Every part of me's huge. I thought it was really funny. And his name is Tank in this movie, and he's like talked about like he's fucking Lenny from Of Mice and Men, like he's some hulking, slow guy. I don't know what the hell I was gonna say. I wasn't gonna say retard, by the way. I was gonna say simple man, or no, I had some other word. What the fuck was I gonna use? Doesn't matter. Moving on. But he's not big. He's not a big guy. He's not bigger than me, guaranteed. I guarantee if I met that actor, he's much smaller than I am. So I don't really understand why he's called Tank. I just don't think that they could find an actor that was big enough to play this fucking guy. But he's like standing there, like the bullies in this movie are bigger than he is. Like the guy's like working out. He does like 1,000 bench presses in this. Literally, like he does so fucking many in the allotted time that he has in the movie. He's like just he's doing so fast. Now I did watch this in 1.5 speed, but regardless, it's still he was moving them really fast, and he did probably to my count he probably did 80 or 90 in the movie. He did so many, and he never stopped. It wasn't like he did 9 sets of 10. No, he did one set of 100. Jesus Christ, man, that's hardcore. Anyways, but I just found it funny that Tank is not very big. I like that it's kind of the flip here, that he hurts the bully and he's the one upset with himself, and that everyone around him is like, no, you did the right thing. This is so rarely the case in these movies. It's always like, what'd you do that for? Why'd you hurt him, you psycho? It's like my biggest pet peeve in anything I ever watch is when the bully finally gets his, and then the people look back at him like, you freak, you monster, you asshole. And it's like, really? Do you not know who this guy is? Do you not watch what this guy's been doing? Fuck. Anyway. And yeah, the dude tries to rape this chick in her home, so they sick the puppets on him. I like that. I like them as vengeance tools. I'm a fan of that. And I like that he just immediately goes home and just starts working out. Like, failed rape attempt, seen by everybody, but I'm just going to drive to my house and work out. It's what I know best, so that's what I'm going to go for. And then they cut his eyes, and then Tunneler goes into his dick, and they completely have this missed opportunity of, the bench bar falling across his neck and fucking cutting his head off or crushing his neck or whatever. Like it just falls right back on the fucking handles of the bench. What? Why? This was such an opportunity, and you could show it from any angle you want. Just imply it, whatever. Why would it fall onto there? It just so happens he had him over that. Get the fuck out of here. That was so stupid. Like, a guy's benching and you go and you slit his eyes. He's gonna drop the bar onto his face, or onto his neck, or onto his chest. Like, of course he is. Whatever. And the dad is like so dramatic about him not wanting her to get hurt because she's fallen in love with Tank, but we find out later in the movies because he plans on killing Tank. And then I like when he has him Tank tied up and he's like, just paraphrasing, of course, but on purpose for comedic value. He's basically like, hey, I know I'm about to murder you, but, why don't you just try to relax and not fight it? I know Tank's supposed to be slow and all, but no one's that slow. The dude stabbed the little puppet stabbed the cop so many times. It's like this fucking prison shanking. It's ridiculous how many times they stabbed the guy. But of course the kill's not very good. Tank's body just straight up fucking fades and dissipates, and then just ends up on this little TV screen on this doll. And then the chick comes in, and of course once again, for like the third or fourth movie, I didn't even mention it in other reviews, but this is like the third or fourth movie now where the puppets turn on the person who's in charge of them, or feels like they've claimed ownership over them or whatever, and so they turn on him and they kill him. Like, they wait until this moment to do it, but I guess it's because they see him as the villain in this moment, and that he's really using it for himself, or that he hurt Tank. But it's like, he's so clearly hurting Tank, so if you're going to save the day, you might as well have done it before Tank was put into the doll. But I don't know if that's why they're doing it, but whatever, they kill him. So there you go. And I'm not really exactly sure what the formula was. He's like, oh, I have the formula. It's perfection. That's it. You just gotta carve the perfect doll and put them together. That doesn't fucking fit this series. In one, it's a ring that you put in the back of a person and you put into the back of a doll. And then another one, it's a straight up needle formula. And then in another one, it's an incantation and bloodletting. And it's all over the fucking place. This franchise, Jesus Christ, let's move on.